Before we start this dream, I want to give you a challenge. As I read it, I want you to see if you can spot where the dream is actually giving me responsibility in it. Because here is something I have learned after studying dreams for years. Dreams are often going to show us situations that we can't control, things other people will do, and circumstances that will affect our lives. But the dream almost always centers on one question. What is your responsibility in this situation? If you are new here, every Monday and Thursday, we dig into real dreams and we find the lessons inside of them. Let's dig into this next one. This is from June 20th of 2020, so just over 6 years ago. There is a part 1 to this dream that I'm not going to share today. One day I will share it, but at this point, I'm going to skip it and jump right into the part that we're covering today. Then we are walking, me, Eli, and Aaron, I think. I have a sense that another girl has her sights set on Aaron, but I'm pretty sure he has chosen me. On our way to his apartment, we see that girl that wants Aaron with a friend of hers waiting, and they join us as we walk. I am still confident because I know I have the code to Aaron's apartment. It's 0000. This is kind of funny. I'm going to explain this in just a moment because I put in parentheses here when I wrote this dream out 6 years ago that this is the code to Angela's house. And if you remember, Angela is my best friend, and it is literally her real code to her house. So I'm not going to put it out there here on YouTube. Just, there was a real number there, and it was the real number to Angela's house. And I'm going to explain that as we dig into the dream. Here we go. Let's get back in. All right, let me read that again. Okay. So on our way to his apartment, we see the girl that wants Aaron with a friend of hers waiting, and they join us as we walk. I'm still confident because I know I have the code to Aaron's appointment, which is blank, 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 blank. And she doesn't. I speed up a little to get there first because I think that when she sees I have the code, she will realize that I've been chosen. We are inside the apartment, and I'm headed down a small staircase to Aaron's bedroom, where I believe the code will be needed to get in. Eli asks me if he can have eggs, and I tell him he can have eggs, but they will not make him feel very good. The woman mentioned that she was scared of the Sharpies, I think, and I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but then I saw all kinds of dead hornets all over the floor. Some were still moving a little, but they were dead or dying, and I navigated around them, so there was no problem. I descended the stairs on my mission and had to move a stack of clothes to a position out of the way. And then I noticed that among the dead hornets, the floor was covered with disgusting larvae down there all over the floor. I thought how I needed to find a broom and sweep up all the hornets and the larvae to make room to walk safely and to clean the whole floor up. All right, so let's dig into this one. Let's look at the first part, and that's the code. And for a long time, I thought it was the main part, but it's not. We're going to get into that. Now, the code was actually Angela's real code, security code into her house. And of course, then there's Aaron, and there's this other woman that joins us on our walk. And then there's the apartment. Normally, when Angela is in my dream, she represents herself. She represents my best friend. But in this dream, it's the name meaning that is represented. Angela means messenger of God. And for me, what that breaks down to, they're my dreams. It's showing that my dreams, my actual dreams at night, not like I have a dream, but my actual dreams at night are the code that I need to get into the apartment first and then into the bedroom. Basically, it's the code that grants access. The dream is immediately establishing that I have received the message, and that is why I have access to this apartment. Now, let's move into the eggs and the hornets. Eggs actually show up a number of times in my dream language, and they're nourishment. And they're probably nourishment if they show up in yours too. What you cook eggs to receive nourishment inside of you. And what this dream is showing is, let's take it a step further. They're nourishment through truth. At least in my dream language, as I've had so many egg dreams now, they're nourishment through truth. And sometimes that truth doesn't make you feel very good. And that's what this one little tiny line is showing. Like, yes, you can have the nourishment of truth, but it's not going to feel very good. All right, now let's look at the hornets. Again, this is one of those big parts of the dream that I always thought I had a full understanding of. And honestly, I did. I pretty much did. What is a hornet? A hornet is something that stings. What stings in reality? Words. Words sting. And I had another dream that really connects. It was just this tiny little short dream. I might have shared it before, where basically I'm being stung in the hand and the arm by a hornet, and I want to pull the stinger out, but it's painful every time I go to pull the stinger out. And my mom is trying to tell me why I have to leave the stinger in, why I can't pull it out right now. Like, essentially that the stinging, the painful words have to be endured for a season. So now you look at this dream and you see that there's painful words, right? The hornets all over the floor. And this other woman that joins me on this journey, she doesn't like the ouchies, right? So she doesn't like the painful words. But for me, I look around and I see they're already dying. So I just carefully walk around them. Self-protection, I know they're dying and I'm going to walk around the painful words. Does that make sense? It's really an important line there, because it's not denying that they're there. It's not ignoring the painful words. It's recognizing that they're there, but they're not long-standing. They're not growing. They're not thriving. They're dying. And I carefully deal with that here, right? In my own mind and in my own heart. That's the carefully walking around the dying hornets. Now there's like all these small details that I love in this dream. There's the clothing, right? Basically these clothes are, they are folded so neat. They're like military precision folded, neatly stacked on the steps, but they're in my way. So I just kind of like have to move them to the side. And you got to pay attention to things in the dream that the dream pays attention to. And this is something that the dream highlighted for me. Now, remember that clothing almost always is going to represent identity. And so what this is identifying is that this person has a very organized identity, has a very carefully folded, carefully placed, precise identity seated on the stairs. And I don't destroy it. I don't try to reorganize it, right? I just have to move it slightly so that I can, what am I looking for? So that I can fulfill my assignment. Now, I don't know if you caught it when I read the dream to you, but here is the real heart of the dream. So I want you to lean in and I want you to really pay attention to this part, because like we talked about in the previous episode, the life-changing parts of our dreams, the parts that project our life forward, right, into our destinies, that bring health to our bones, they can sometimes be very understated in the dream. And so I want you to lean in when we go over this next section. Larvae are everywhere, not just the dying hornets. That's one thing we just discussed, okay? Painful words. Larvae, it's like a revelation. I now see that amongst the painful words is larva, and I need a broom and I need to sweep them up. And that's important. Now, what is larva, right? It's the beginning of something. It is the baby form of a hornet. It is the beginning of painful, sharp ouchies. So if a hornet represents painful words, then naturally the larva would represent painful thoughts. Lean in, because this is universally important. Larva is the beginning of bitterness. Larva is the beginning of resentment. Larva is the beginning of harsh words growing inside me. And therein lies the rub. There is the responsibility. Not Aaron, not the other woman, not even the hornets. It's the larva. And if I don't sweep them up, guess what? They're going to grow wings. My responsibility is to sweep up the pain inside of my own heart before they grow into something destructive. Guys, when this hit me, wow, I recognized it might be one of the most important dreams I've ever had, because it is about stewarding what only you can control. You can't control the actions of others. You can't control the words of others. And sometimes you're not even supposed to pull out the stinger. Right? Okay. This is where dreams cut through the emotions, and they cut through the ego, and they cut through the norms of our society. When you pay attention to the dreams, they're going to take you down roads you never would have ever seen yourself walking down. And that's a good thing. But that doesn't mean that the eggs will always make you feel good. What it does mean is that when you keep paying attention and you keep breaking down your dreams, and you find the golden nugget inside that dream that shows you your ownership, what you have responsibility over, that is freedom. Guess what? A broom interrupts a life cycle. It interrupts the normal cycle that our minds and our thoughts and our egos take us into. All the right, here's what's right, and here's the self-protection, and here's how I keep myself safe, right? It interrupts that. It sweeps it up. But look at what I say in the dream. I'm sweeping it up. I'm taking responsibility to sweep the dead hornets up, number one, and the larva up, number two, to make it safe for me to walk. Because guess who gets hurt when we allow bitterness, when we allow the larva of destructive words, when we ruminate on wrong done to us, when we let that grow inside, guess who gets hurt? We do. I'm sweeping it up for my own safety. I am not responsible for Aaron. I am not responsible for the woman that comes walking up alongside me on my journey. I'm not responsible for the hornets themselves. I'm not responsible even for the neatly stacked clothing. I'm responsible for sweeping up the larva, the human the human mind that is fragile and and influenced and comes with baggage, right? But what it births, what is already there, what happens because we live in a broken world with human nature. I didn't bring the hornets in. I didn't let the hornets give birth to the larva on the floor. That all was there when I got there, right? But it's my responsibility to sweep it up. All those other pieces, they were just setting the stage to show me what I do to take my power back, to continue to grow in my identity, to deal with what's growing inside me, because what begins as a logical, understandable thought eventually turn into words. And those words wound us before they wound anyone else. So at the beginning of this video, I challenged you to see if you could figure out what the dream was giving me responsibility over. It wasn't Aaron. It wasn't the other woman. It wasn't the hornets. It was the larva. Because if I don't deal with the beginnings of bitterness, the beginnings of harsh words, the beginnings of resentment, eventually they grow wings. And that is why dreams are so extraordinary. Because they don't just show me what other people are doing. They gently reveal what I need to steward inside my own heart. If you made it through to the end of this episode, thank you. The time you choose to spend with me really means a lot. And if you would like help with your own dreams, I have a free community for that. I also have one-on-one sessions you can sign up for. Just see the links below. And if not, just come on back and see me here, because you know what? Your story really does matter. I'll see you next time.